everyone, happy Mustang Monday again. As I wait for you all to join, I will just explain what we're doing tonight. We are going to be meeting with Chloe, who is the club sports president, and she is going to talk about all about club sports at Cal Poly. So if any of you are interested in learning anything about joining a club sport, then this is going to be the place to do so. So while we're waiting for her to join, I'll just kind of tell you a little bit about myself. So my name is Olivia Jones, pronouns she, her, hers, and I am a fourth year communication studies major from the Bay Area. And I am not in a club sport, but I am a poly rep, and we are the university ambassadors and tour guides for Cal Poly. So I'm pretty knowledgeable about all things Cal Poly if you have any other questions besides club sports. So just waiting on her to join. I'm going to invite her now. Give me 1 second, everyone. So admissions is bringing you this takeover today. So we do these every Monday at 6 p.m. and we cover a bunch of different topics. So if you're interested, definitely check those out on our Instagram page as well as our admissions YouTube channel. Perfect. Chloe is joining us now. I'll wait for her to join. Sorry for the delay. So like I said, we will be talking about Cal Poly Club sports this evening. And hopefully the technology works. Sometimes we have some issues with requesting to join, but I promise we'll get started soon. Hi, Chloe.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Happy Mustang Monday. I'm excited to talk to you this evening. So do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name's Chloe. My pronouns are she, hers. I'm a third-year business administration student concentrating in accounting and marketing, and some things I'm involved with on campus are Cal Poly Accounting Club as well as Swim Club, and I am the president of the Executive Sports Council.
Awesome, love to hear it. So do you want to kind of just give a general overview of club sports at Cal Poly?
Yeah, so the club sports program has been around for a while. It's been here since 2005, and we currently have 29 teams, so lots of variety there. We also have around 1,500 participants, and that number is definitely going up, and it's gaining a lot of popularity as we add some new teams. And I think that club sports has been a great part of my college experience. I definitely was a competitive athlete in high school, as I'm sure a lot of you were, and having that kind of like go to school practice kind of routine definitely is what club sports is all about, like having somewhere to go and continue being competitive in your sport, but maybe not with too much time, being too much time commitment. Also finding that community at college is really great, especially if you have like-minded interests as people who play those sports. Yeah, overall it's been a lot of fun for me, and I hope a lot of you on the live would be interested in doing club sports.
Yeah, so can you differentiate between like D1 NCAA sports and then intramural sports? How are they different from club sports?
Yeah, for sure. D1 sports are definitely more of a time commitment. You travel a lot through that, and also it's very selective. You have to be a part of like a recruiting process kind of early on before you get to college. They also offer like athletic scholarships if you're involved in that. And then intramural sports is kind of the opposite. It's very low key, not that much of a time commitment. it's like quarter by quarter, you'll join a sport on a team, and you just like have a game once a week, and you only play against Cal Poly students. It's super fun, and I recommend doing that. Even if you join a club sport as well, it's super easy to do both. I know a lot of people in the dorms, they'll get like their dorm together and do an intramural soccer game or like kickball. So those are super fun. Club sports is definitely in the middle of those two. They do require a little bit more of a time commitment. It's also year round. Once you join the team, you can always do it on a quarterly basis, of course, but we do travel and have competitions and play against other schools, and it's a little bit more intense than intramurals, I would say, but definitely not at the same level of pressure as a D1 sport would be.
Yeah. So someone asked, are there intramural sports, which I think we just answered. So yes, intramural is like you win a t-shirt if you win, you're out having your friends watch you play on some of our fields that we have, super low-key. You could have never picked up a football in your life and sign up for the team. D1 is like you're a student athlete, you are dedicated to your sport, and then club sports is kind of somewhere in the middle of that.
Yeah, and intramural also, I know there's like divisions, so you could do competitive division, or if you're just joining, so that kind of makes it a little less scary to join.
So you mentioned that if you're in club sports, it's year round, but you can take a quarter off if you want to. Can you kind of talk more about that?
Yeah, so I can't vouch for every single club sport, but I know at least for swimming, and I'm sure a lot of other club sports do the same kind of model. You can pay at the beginning of the year for like the full academic year, or you could pay on a quarterly basis. So if you're super busy fall quarter, don't worry about it. You can totally join a club sport winter quarter. You could try a new club sport the next quarter. Like, it's totally easy to switch it up, and don't feel like you're like too committed to one.
What kind of costs are associated with it? Is it pretty reasonable? Do you want to talk more about that?
Yeah, so ASI does allocate us a good budget for us to cover a lot of the costs, as well as, and we will allocate that budget based off of how expensive a sport is. If they require like renting a pool is going to be more expensive than renting like a rec, like a basketball court, as well as like paying coaches, and all those kind of funds go into it. So definitely I would say club sports is pretty affordable for what it is. I know especially like club sport like sailing, like that is something you're not really going to have the ability to do on your own, but they do make sure that it is affordable, and you can actually get a lot of value from that. And also there's tons of fundraisers your club sport will do, which are super fun to get involved. So you do a lot of raising money throughout that. You normally will have to pay some. It does vary from sport to sport, but of course we try our best to make sure it's affordable and accessible to everyone.
Right. A question, what do you know about the club cycling team?
Cycling is a really awesome team. They've actually won 2 national championships. They've gone to Durango, Colorado. So the cycling team is really awesome. I'm sure if you want to find more information about like practices or what kind of things they do, check out Cal Poly Now. That's a great site to find more information about like specific clubs, and you can also get in contact. They have like some emails and phone numbers on there.
Yeah, Cal Poly Now is great. They have like the club president and who you can reach out to. They also usually have their Instagram linked, I believe. So honestly, Instagram is usually a pretty good way to figure things out. You can kind of see what they look like and then DM them on there. But I think that like people on the club cycling team seem to have a great time. Cal Poly is definitely a great biking area. How do you join Club Sports Council? That's a great question.
So I joined at the beginning of this year. I interviewed in the spring. So another place where you would find the application for that process would be on Cal Poly Now. And we have our applications out in the spring. There are 4 positions on the council. So it's limited to those amount, but it's super awesome and a great way to get involved more within the program.
So what kind of time commitment does that look like for you? Like, what motivated you to join the council?
Well, like I said, I'm on swim club and I love club sports, and just like I've been an athlete my whole life, and I love walking around campus. You can see people wearing our shirts. They're all like in the same font, no matter what club you're in. So it really makes you feel like you're in a different kind of community on campus that's kind of like different from Greek life or like academic clubs. And so I really liked the whole community of club sports and decided that I wanted to get more involved with that. And it's great. It's not a big time commitment. We do have monthly and quarterly meetings, but you really get to hear about how all the club sports are doing, as well as just like making executive decisions on people entering and joining the club, as well as doing some like fundraising and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Definitely, I think just in general, being a student at Cal Poly or in college in general, the more involved you can get, the better, because it's just so fun meeting so many different people, especially those that you won't maybe come across in your major. Someone asked, oh, this is just a general question for me. When will we find out whether we got accepted or not? So you will find out definitely by April 1st. They will guarantee admissions decisions will be released by then, but you could hear earlier sometime in March. So they kind of do a rolling admissions starting in March, I believe. So depending on how quickly the admissions officers get the applications rolled out, then they will make their decisions based on that. So I would just recommend checking your portal, checking your email, your spam, and they'll release the decisions on there, and just keep checking. And if not, you will definitely get it by April 1st. And then decision day is May 1st. So you have to make your decision of acceptance by May 1st. So then you'll have at least a month to make your decision about whether you would want to come to Cal Poly or not. Sorry about that, Chloe. We've been getting that question a lot considering it's admission season.
No worries.
Are itching. And then someone asked, what is the approximate date for the engineering decisions to be released? So that's the same as general admissions. It's not specifically based on major or your college that you're in. So it could really be any time in that time frame that I discussed. Yeah, keep asking questions. These are great. Do you want to do a quick read off of all of the club sports Cal Poly offers? I know it's kind of a lot, but just in case anyone was looking to see which ones specifically they have.
Yeah, so these are all in alphabetical order, and I can't promise that I can answer every question about in sport, but again, Cal Poly now is a great resource to learn more about them. So we have badminton, ballroom, we have baseball for men, we have a men's team and a women's team, bowling, cycling, distance, fencing, and we got field hockey, golf, lacrosse, a men and women's team, roller hockey, rugby, sailing, soccer, men and women's, surf, swim, tennis, triathlon, which is one of our biggest clubs, and a lot of people really get into that one. Ultimate, also another one people like to join college. We have men's and women's team for Ultimate. Volleyball, men's and women's. Water polo, men and women's. And then we have water ski. So we got 29. I'm sure it's kind of a hard decision when you're looking at all of them. Like, which one would I want to try if I wasn't super into swimming? But they're all really awesome, great community, great way to meet people, and it's a good way to put yourself out there.
Yeah, I agree. And some of those are so not random, but like how cool that if you want to continue doing ballroom dancing, you can come to Cal Poly or try it for the first time.
Yeah.
Someone also asked how many. Sorry, you go.
Oh, I was just gonna say everyone on these teams are super inclusive. Like they want you to join. And you can kind of find just like micro communities within some of the more kind of random sports, I guess you could say. So also, even if you like to golf, just like with your family, like joining club golf is a great way to meet people who have similar interests than you, and you don't have to be like super into golf to do it. You can just try it out and see how you like it. Yeah, there's so many cool golf clubs in SLO too. So cool way to kind of explore through a sport.
How many days a week do club teams practice? Obviously, that'll differ from sport to sport, but what does your schedule kind of look like in general?
For swim club, we practice 6 days a week. Not every day is a swim day. Some days we do like dry land, which is just kind of like we meet together. Sometimes we'll like play a pickup game of like ultimate frisbee or soccer, or we'll do more like kind of like intense training. But that's definitely not the case for all sports. But it does depend like season to season as well. I know like women's water polo, they have like fall quarters preseason, so they just practice twice a week. Show up if you want. Like it's just kind of getting in shape and getting to meet people on the team. And then they have like more intense like 6 days a week practices like winter quarter when it's like their tournament season and all that. So it definitely depends sport to sport, as well as like how much like time commitment you have to put in. A lot of like the bigger teams like swimming, distance, triathlon, like since the teams are so big and it's individual, you can kind of just like go when you want. There's no pressure to like make a huge time commitment. So if you are super busy, there's definitely midterm seasons, finals, like school comes first, obviously, which is a great part of club sports is just like you can kind of pick and choose when you want to go, but still have that like consistent schedule. So it depends. So again, look at Cal Poly Now. I'll repeat that a lot throughout this probably, but that'll be your best resource.
Awesome. What about joining club sports? You know, do you have to try out? How competitive is it? Do they cut a lot of people? Do you want to talk more about that?
Yeah, so not every sport does a tryout process, but the ones that do and do make cuts as well are baseball, men's and women's basketball, we have women's lacrosse, men's and women's soccer, men's and women's volleyball, men's and women's water polo, and surf. So those ones you do try out, and then they do end up cutting people. So those sports are definitely a little bit more competitive to get on, but I would always like say don't let that stop you from trying out. Or like college is all about putting yourself out there. You have nothing to lose, and don't make it, you might meet people throughout the tryout process who you might join an intramural team with, or just someone who has a similar interest. And then other teams that do tryouts, but they'll just put you on kind of like an A or B team. They won't make any cuts. Are roller hockey, tennis, and men's ultimate.
Awesome. So for any other team other than that, they just kind of post about their club meetings, and then you would just show up based on your interests?
Yeah. And a lot of the clubs that don't do tryouts, like it's easy to join like middle of the quarter if you want. Just send an email. You can get the practice schedule. I know swim club, a lot of people will join in the middle of the quarter, and we're happy to have them. It's people definitely will make you feel included. You can definitely find communities through that. Especially, it's super cool to meet people who you wouldn't before, because they might not be in your major. They might be much older than you, and that's really awesome to kind of meet people like that.
Yeah. What about traveling? Do you travel? I mean, I know you do for swim. Is it kind of pretty common to travel, or does it depend on the sport?
It does depend on the sport, but a lot of the teams, I would say majority, do travel. I know even the teams who don't probably will in the future. We're just they might just be kind of just getting new to being a club sport or getting more membership and stuff going. But we do travel a lot. I went to UC Davis this weekend for a swim meet, and that was super fun. I'm going to Stanford in 2 weeks. My freshman year, we were going to go to North Carolina for nationals, but COVID hit and unfortunately didn't get to go. But I'm hoping this year we'll go to Atlanta. So that's a lot of fun traveling with teams. It's a great way to bond with people. I know swim club, we like to switch up carpools and hotel rooms, so you're always talking to someone new. But a lot of other teams do travel far and wide to go to nationals. Like men's and women's soccer have gone to Foley, Alabama. Sailing has gone to a regatta in Honolulu, Hawaii. Distance has won their national championship in Shelbyville, Indiana, sorry, and water ski goes to Louisiana every year for nationals, and then, like I mentioned before, cycling has gone to Durango, Colorado, twice and won nationals both times. So we love to get the sports traveling. Also, the costs involved with that. It's college students running it, so we do keep costs in mind, like when it comes to picking out flights and hotels and all that stuff. And again, I wouldn't let cost be a determinant of you not joining. There's tons of fundraisers and donors and things like that that make it definitely possible.
Awesome. Yeah, I think obviously what a great reason to travel and what a cool opportunity through club sports to be able to do so. So, if we don't have any more questions, do you have any kind of last minute advice, things to add, your favorite kind of memories from club sports you want to touch on?
Yeah, definitely. My freshman year, I was trying to join a ton of different things on campus, trying to see what I liked. And I definitely fell in love with swim club. It's what I did in high school. It definitely felt familiar to me. And really, like when you join college and so much is new, having something that's kind of always been a part of your life, if you've been like a competitive athlete like me your whole life, was super comforting, as well as I really found a lot of my best friends through that program. And I meet so many of my other friends who are in different club sports and feel the same way. So that has really stuck with me throughout my college experience, as well as I know people who have joined like their second or third year a club sport and really found a new community and something new to do. I think also just having like an organized practice is super helpful when you're like stressed with like midterms and all that. At the end of the day, just going and kind of not thinking about that stuff and just focusing on practice and being a part of the team and seeing all your friends. It's really a great program.
Yeah, it sounds like a great stress reliever and such a good thing to get involved in. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I really enjoyed talking to you and hearing more about it. And for all of you that watched or have been watching, this will be posted on our admissions Instagram account as well as our YouTube page. So if you missed any portion of it, you can definitely go back and refer to it. If you have any questions, definitely check out Cal Poly now, or DM us if you have any questions, as well as following Cal Poly Club Sports on Instagram. Thank you so much, Chloe. I hope you have a great evening.